welcome everyone to our last session for November. And next time we meet, it'll be December. It's been a real pleasure to be practicing with you all for the whole fall and what will be kind of gearing up toward winter. And I'll say some more words on that in our final session, and also offer more tips on kind of continuing your practice, if that's of interest to you as you move through December into January and February and beyond. But welcome. So if this is your first time here, I just will give a couple of guidelines, offerings, invitations. The first one being take good care of yourself. So make yourself comfortable. Sometimes when we think of meditation, the image that comes to mind is like sitting super straight with a straight spine and being very serious about it. And I would say meditation is quite a serious practice in that it can have seriously positive impacts on our minds and lives. And for the purpose of these sessions, I invite you to be at ease, be comfortable. That might mean reclining one day. It might mean like standing up even if you feel just like there's a lot of frenetic energy in your mind, but typically we are seated, and a lot of my guidance during the practice will be posture-wise at the beginning for those who are seated. So just naming that right off the bat. It's your choice to keep your eyes open or closed. If they are open, I invite you to just have kind of a soft gaze resting at some point in front of you, not focused on anything in particular. And you always have the option to pause or pull back. If I'm guiding us somewhere that you start to feel like, this isn't for me in this moment, that's okay. You can come back to sensation of your physical posture. You can open your eyes and just kind of notice the details of the room around you. That's a nice way to come back into regulation. But the places we're going in these practices hopefully are not going to be too activating in that way. I just say that you have full permission to take great care of yourself. Yeah, I would love to, since we have at least half of us are on video, I'd like to just get a sense of who maybe celebrated a holiday last week, whether it was Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving or eating lots of good food, something like that. Yeah. If you're not on camera, you can also just kind of give a thumbs up or a heart. I did that as well. I had a couple days worth of that. I see a thumbs up from Dana there. Thanks, Dana. And something I think about around the Thanksgiving holiday and this time of year is the concept of gratitude. And I always like to make it a challenge for myself when I bring gratitude into meditation to take it out of the conceptual and like actually bring it into the body so that we feel, what does it actually feel like to be grateful, or to have gratitude or express it or embody it. And that's what I'm going to try to do with you all here today. And I guess if we look at it from a sort of contemplative framework and looking at how our minds and brains and bodies can actually start to sense and feel gratitude, I think about being able to open up our scope of awareness to just be aware of more of the goodness or more of the pleasantness or more of even the neutral sensation or experiences around us that then we can kind of code as a positive experience, whether that's noticing we're in connection with people more than we thought, noticing that we feel more at ease or comfortable in any given moment than we thought. Our minds tend to jump to what's feeling wrong or what we need to look out for, what might be threatening our survival. And one of the ways that we can kind of challenge that is to consciously notice what's feeling good and what's feeling right. And so in our practice today, I'll start us with an invitation to notice what's feeling good and supportive on a very sort of basic, gross physical level, and then we'll get subtler and subtler. And I likely won't use the word gratitude at all. This is just, we can think of it as an experiment, like kind of exploring what it feels like to notice what's already there without having to create an experience of gratitude, without having to sort of perform or conceptualize it. What would it be like to actually just kind of soften into it, to open into that experience? One other point on gratitude that has really helped me in my practice journey, and this was a tip from a teacher I met many, many years ago in a different part of the world. I was expressing to her this like sense of loss or sadness at having had a really beautiful experience in a meditation and then kind of coming out of it. And I feel like, oh, it's gone. I lost it. And that's really challenging to toggle between those states, to know that I was able to access a sense of sort of bliss or groundedness or calm or ease. And then I shifted out of it. And she said that the antidote to feeling a sense of sort of loss or frustration around losing a state that we access in meditation is just gratitude. It's just practicing feeling grateful, rejoicing in the fact that we had the experience to begin with. And so I share that if you're ever finding yourself toggling kind of between the two, like that space of feeling easeful and calm and maybe even blissed out a bit, and then kind of coming back into what we think of as reality, like the mundane of daily life. The invitation is to just, rejoice in having had the experience. And that will actually start to create the conditions to bring more of it into your life. Okay, I think it's time to practice. So we'll start and end our practice with a bell and an invitation here to just get comfortable, and I'll see you on the other side. So settling into your body, to your beautifully breathing body, making any adjustments that you need. Just softening into yourself, knowing that you don't have to make this moment too precious. You can just be with yourself as you are. Allowing the eyelids to soften close if that feels good for you. And if you're seated, perhaps sensing this energetic lift of the spine. So all the way from the tailbone up through the crown of the head, almost as if there's a gentle sort of tug from a string at the top of your head toward the sky. Just offering some space between the vertebrae. And as you sense this liftedness in your spine, allowing the shoulders, the shoulder blades to just drop down either side of the spine like ripe fruit hanging from a tree. Noticing how that might support a sort of melting open of the heart space, a softening in the chest and shoulders. Allowing yourself to rest in the gentle rhythm of your breathing. Again, if your mind is thinking, I need to create an experience of meditation, just noticing that with kindness, with compassion, and letting it dissolve into the rhythm of your breath, into the presence of your breathing body. I'll invite you here to just start to notice the support of the surface beneath you, perhaps behind you. And if you've practiced with me before, this might sound like a familiar cue, but what would it be like to not go into autopilot, to actually sense, open to the support that perhaps you feel under your feet or legs, sits bones, maybe the expanse of your back. If you're reclining, perhaps the back of your head as well is supported. Just noticing the support create space for you to rest. To soften. You might also notice feeling of warmth where those supports meet your body. Perhaps the warmth feels pleasant. Perhaps you notice other spaces on your skin that feel supported by the warmth of your clothes or a blanket or a shawl. Allowing yourself to just rest in the pleasantness of feeling comfortable, temperature-wise, likely warmth, but perhaps it's coolness if you're in a hotter climate or place. And we notice now the rise and fall of our inhales and exhales. The gentle flow and rhythm of the breath. Always present, like an energetic backbone to our lives. There most of the time without us even having to think about it. A continuous rhythm, like the lapping of waves on the shore. And noticing now if there's any tension that's been created in the muscles of the face, that space between the eyebrows or the jaw. Sometimes, in an effort to focus, we create tension. What might it be like to soften these spaces? To just rest your awareness in your breathing body, the rhythm of your breath. Resting in presence, resting in meditation. And if your mind wanders or your attention wanders, you might notice thoughts coming across your awareness like clouds drifting through a blue sky. And if that happens, you might rejoice in your ability to notice, to watch and witness, to just be aware of what's happening. Resting in your present moment experience, resting in meditation. And as you rest here, just continuing to experience your breathing body, all the physiological systems, the phenomena that have come together to simply allow you to be here and breathe and be present in this space. I invite you to bring to mind someone who would be really proud and happy, joyful to know that you're sitting here in this moment, in this space, in this practice. We'll be proud of you, so happy to see you showing up. Whether it took much effort or little effort to arrive here. Even if that person is a past or part version of yourself. How happy they would be to see you resting here in meditation. Maybe this person or version of yourself has also contributed to your being able to show up here in some way, has encouraged you at some point, has held out hope for you. Has supported you. And I invite you to just, recognize that if that's the case, how this person has contributed to your life, to your being here in this moment right now. There's no need to create anything. There's no need to push yourself to feel anything. We're just exploring, just noticing what's there. And then we can expand our awareness of who else, what else has brought us here. Perhaps other people in your life who have fed or nourished you in some way. Maybe directly with resources, but also perhaps spiritually or through love, through connection, through teaching. Maybe all these people start to just kind of show up, materialize in front of you, almost like in a semicircle. And trusting whoever comes up. Maybe someone you met in a fleeting moment who taught you something about yourself. Maybe someone who's quietly been there in the background, but always a support in some way or another. Maybe someone who's been challenging even, but who's taught you how to grow. Allowing these folks to come in, people, teachers, loved ones, passing travelers. And then expanding our awareness even more, noticing what comes into the space when we think about teachings themselves or texts, books. Materials that have taught us things or helped us to grow or be able to be here in this moment. We can also invite into this space, recognize places we've been, landscapes that have felt supportive. Maybe the memories of sharing those places with people that have made a difference in our lives. And perhaps supernatural beings, if that's been a part of your path or journey, either within religion or any other tradition, maybe archangels, deities, bodhisattvas, supportive energy, mystical teachings. And of course, including in this awareness of what supported us and bringing us here, also yourself, the trust in yourself or commitment to yourself, the resilience of yourself, showing up again and again in different ways to support yourself in this life. And if any of this feels challenging, like there's a resistance or it feels hard to see what supported you or who has supported you, know that that's okay. And just to bring some compassion and kindness to yourself if that's your experience. Allowing that kindness and compassion to be of support to you in this moment. And we'll take a few more moments here. Just allow yourself to just bask in any warmth or positive feeling. How it's felt for you to just acknowledge and recognize everything that's come together to serve you in this moment, to support you, even if life has been challenging, even if there are other things going on that feel not so supportive. What has come together for you in this moment? Sometimes it can feel nice to rest a hand at heart center or find another gesture that feels like a way to sort of rejoice in this practice and what you've felt or what you've experienced or explored. And also starting to lovingly kind of let go of any images or things that materialized in your space, in your imaginal space, knowing that they're there whenever you need them for support. You can bring them back in anytime. And just gently coming back to the experience of your breathing body, maybe feeling a bit different now than you did at the start of the practice. And then at the sound of the bell, taking your time to come back to our shared space. I know I went right up to the end there, but sometimes when I'm feeling it and feeling good, it's just hard to come back out. So the sort of inspiration for this practice, it's something I was doing before the book came out. But if you're interested in sort of a 7-step process, I think for this practice, there's a book called Love and Rage by Lama Rod Owens, and he has a practice called the 7 Homecomings, which is kind of similar to this, but yeah, it could be an interesting book.